We're here at Beaver Stadium following Penn State's 34-27 win over Bowling Green. The Nittany Lions advanced to 2-0 on the season, but it was a pretty ugly game. Lexi, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, I think my initial thoughts were that on Monday, Franklin said that he was a little disappointed that people weren't talking about the defense and they were looking at the West Virginia game. And today, people were talking about the defense for not the reasons he wanted. They played a horrible first half, missed tackles all over the place, let Bowling Green take full advantage and head into the half with a lead, which I don't think anyone was expecting. I mean, we talked this week, we thought we were going to see Penn State's depth guys probably maybe mid-third quarter, and instead they were fighting until pretty much the very last minute. But Penn State got the win, but they have a lot to work on heading into the bye week.
Yeah, I mean, things got a little bit scary there for Penn State. They were trailing entering the half. They were trailing again during the third quarter. They finally pulled ahead. They got a few key interceptions from Zachy Wheatley and Tony Rojas. But, you know, ultimately they were 33, 34 point favorites, something like that heading into the game. So to come out with a one-score victory in a game that was basically a shootout that either team could have easily come out on top. I mean, I think it's a pretty disappointing result for Penn State. Luckily for the Nittany Lions, they have the bye week coming up, so they get a chance to kind of work on some of those issues and get some of those things figured out heading into a matchup against Kent State. I thought the offense did look pretty impressive today. There were, obviously, you can nitpick a few mistakes. Aller had an interception in the end zone, which was a pretty bad throw into double coverage. He admitted after the game during media that, you know, he shouldn't have made that throw. It was the wrong read by him. There were also a few pre-snap penalties on the offense that they're going to want to clean up, but overall still pretty impressive performance. I think they averaged over 7 yards per play offensively. Special teams was better this week. No missed field goals this week. So I thought overall, again, the defense disappointed, but the other two sides of the ball for Penn State were pretty impressive. But still some things to work on for the Nittany Lions after this kind of scary game. I thought Bowling Green was a lot better than we kind of thought going into the matchup. I mean, we knew they had Connor Bazelak, a sixth-year quarterback, and Harold Fannin, one of the best tight ends in the country. We knew their run game would probably be pretty solid, but I don't think anyone was expecting them to put up 27 points and kind of go toe-to-toe with the offense. I don't know, did you have any other takeaways from the game?
I mean, I also just think looking at the offense, people are going to look at how close this game was, but the offense really showed some signs of, you know, what they can do in the future. Nick and Kathryn both had huge games, which is going to be huge for them going forward because they need both of them to be on when they play better teams like USC and Ohio State. And also Tyler Warren had a career day, a record-setting day, most receiving yards ever by a Penn State tight end in one game. So I think that all that's going to be huge going forward. The only thing I look at is the wide receivers kind of dropped in production compared to last week. No catches for Harrison Wallace III. But other than that, I thought the offense looked pretty good besides that miscue from Aller and the wide receivers still kind of being a question mark.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the offense, it felt like, again, the explosiveness was definitely there for the second straight week, but Harrison Wallace, the guy who led the team last week in receptions with 5, led the team in receiving yards with 117, today comes out and has 0 catches. Julian Fleming, who had no catches last week, had, I think, 1 catch today for 3 yards. So not much there. Omari Evans, who had the big 50-yard catch last week against West Virginia, came out today and almost had a 45-yard touchdown reception, but it got called back for offensive pass interference. So there's still some question marks, I think, with the wide receiver room, which was a question entering the season. I think the running backs, though, like you mentioned, Nick and Kathryn both ran for 100 yards, which is the first time in a long time that we've seen that happen. So the ground game definitely looked good. Tyler Warren with a record-setting day at tight end. Andrew Rappelier was notably missing for today's game after appearing at practice. Franklin declined to tell us what exactly that injury was, but we know he wasn't there today. So Penn State, once again, dealing with some more issues with depth in that tight end room. But the offense as a whole put together a pretty good performance. The defense, obviously, if you're Penn State, you would have hoped for a better performance, but at the end of the day, the Nittany Lions get out with a win, so they move to 2-0 heading into the bye week. That's it for today's episode. That's everything we have, but thank you guys for tuning in, and for more football coverage, you can find us at psucollegian.com and follow us on socials.